Right, it's preparing to live stream. Yeah, I can confirm we're now live streaming on YouTube.
We're recording as well, thank you.
Yeah, we're recording as well.
Thank you, thanks Elaine.
Good morning and welcome to everyone. It's really good to see everyone today, and I'd like to give a warm welcome to anyone listening or viewing today's meeting on the web. Before we start, I'd just like to give a few housekeeping points. If everyone could remain muted and have the video on if possible, then when you'd like to speak, just press the hand button on the participants list and I'll call you in the same order. If you do need to leave the meeting at any point, please let me know, just so we're all clear that it's not a connection issue and we're not waiting for you to come back. So this then takes on to agenda item 1, which is a register of attendance. If Joanne wants to do a roll call.
Okay, I'll just go down the list of members. If you can just confirm whether you are present, please. Councillor Terry Aldridge.
Present.
Councillor Billy Brooks.
Present.
Councillor Richard Cunnington, we have received an apology from him. Councillor Sid Dennis. I think he's possibly going to be late. Councillor Dick Edgington.
Present.
Councillor Stephen Eyre. I think Councillor Eyre is just having some connection problems, but he'll probably be with us later on. Councillor Alex Hall.
Present.
Councillor David Hall.
Present.
Councillor Neil Jones.
Present.
Councillor Thomas Kemp.
Present.
Councillor Helen Matthews. I think she's absent at the moment. Councillor McNally.
Present.
And Councillor Jim Swanson.
I'm here.
Thank you.
Thank you, Joanne. So that brings on to agenda item number 2, which is declaration of interests. Does anyone have any declarations? Councillor Swanson.
Thank you. Just to be noted that I'm a member of Lindsay Marsh Drainage Board.
Thank you, Councillor Swanson.
Yeah, and I am also.
Councillor Aldridge.
Yeah, I'm a member of Lindsay Marsh Drainage Board, and I also have got to let you know that I shall have to go just before 11 o'clock because I've got an injection to. Okay.
Yeah, thank you, Councillor Aldridge.
I'm also one, Chairman. I'm also a member of the Drainage Board.
See, no one. For my own, I am the local member for Tetney on the County Council. I have made certain inquiries on the application, but I still come with this with an open mind. So that brings on to item number 3, which is the minutes of the previous meeting. So, does anyone object to the minutes? No, so I'll propose them. Councillor Edgington, do you want to second them?
Yes, I'll second those.
Thank you. So we'll take them as okay. So that brings on to agenda item number 4, which is just in time. Welcome, Councillor Matthews. Feedback from the Planning Policy Committee, and this item is because the Policy Committee sets the local policy that the Planning Committee has to take into account when making decisions on applications. So, have you got anything to report, Councillor Matthews?
Nothing new at the moment. Perhaps the next meeting.
Thank you. So then that brings on to item number 5, which is Horncastle College, Mayhem Road, Horncastle. Over to Andy.
Thank you, Chairman. Morning, members of the committee. Firstly, just to confirm, it's an application, full permission sought for a multi-use building, house learning and office facilities for Boston College, and also a separate facility for East Lindsey District Council. Could I firstly just draw members' attention to the supplementary papers? There are a couple of updates on there. Just very briefly to reference them, we've had additional representation from the Horncastle History and Heritage Society. It's a reasonably lengthy response, so I don't know whether members want to refresh their memories on that. That's up to you, Chairman. But additionally, confirmation from the County Council that the transport assessment that was submitted is acceptable. Also, you'll note that there's a suggestion or a request that condition 17 in the officer's report be revised. In essence, it was felt from the wording to be too onerous. So there's a revised condition proposed, which is on the supplementary papers, which achieves the same objective, but is provides for a more flexible response to allow the development to progress. The other update on the supplementary is simply to confirm that the applicant has advised agreement to the relevant conditions on the report, and also an intention to provide heritage interpretation display within the grounds of the development. The only thing I'd like to just add to that, if I could, is in relation to condition 13 on the report, and that's simply to add a reference to requirement for details for the proposed generator and substation and the bin storage areas. They're admitted in error, I'm afraid. I apologise for that. And it's entirely to ensure that there are good design outcomes, because those details weren't submitted with the application. But that sits in the way of update. I don't know whether, Chairman, whether members want to refresh their memories on the Horncastle representations or not.
If we just want to give everyone a minute or two, then that'll be fine. Well, whenever you're ready, Andy.
Thank you, Chair. Can I just check? Can everybody see that screen, shared screen? Okay. On that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you. Right, just to run through the presentation briefly. Aerial photo showing the site in context. So we've got Mareham Road here to the south. This is the site here with the existing buildings of Horncastle College. Probably. It's better. Red line plan showing the site. So access off Mareham Road. Red line denoting the site. The existing buildings that you can see within the site area there. The frontage of the site here is open. Good tree screen planting on the front, but this is an open area. Again, plans of the site showing the existing buildings. The blue buildings remain. The buildings that are shaded in this pinky colour, they're the ones that are demolished. And then moving on, that's the plan of the proposed development. So you can see the existing building that's being kept there. The others have gone. Car parking area at the rear of the site, car parking to the front, and the main hub building sort of centrally located with a green courtyard area between the two car parking areas. Access remains the same off Merham Road. Again, the elevations, fairly contemporary design approach as a contrast to the older buildings that presently exist on and close to the site. Again, cross sections through the site showing the new building in relationship to existing buildings and in relationship to the residential properties that are to the site to the east. This is probably a little bit more flavor of what it would look like. So the graphics show the building set in context, a fairly landscaped context to it, aside from the car parking areas. And you can see on the bottom one here in the bottom left, the main building and then the existing homely cottages that sit reasonably close to the site here. Photos of the site, that's the access off Merham Road, tree-lined access. Within the site, but looking back towards Merham Road, the building on the left is one of the existing newer college buildings, but one of the buildings that would be demolished. Lindsay House, an existing building within the site that stays. That's as you were to come in on the access, that's access road. That's on the right-hand side before you get to the site. And again, just photos showing the site context really and relationship to existing properties. This is the eastern boundary of the site, so you can see the residential properties that neighbour the site behind the fairly mature tree and hedgerow buffer. And again, moving on, similar photos that just show that boundary. Working around the site, these are the Portakabin type buildings which are to the northern part of the site that are equally demolished, and that's again the site boundary. That's the site boundary, I think, that part of it. They're the homely cottages. This one is the one that remains, and Ralph Bennett is the one here that is proposed to be demolished to enable the development to come forward. Again, photo of the existing buildings on the site, the slightly more modern but existing part of Horncastle College. And again, at the back of the site, these are the homely buildings, cottages again, Ralph Bennett House being this one here. And you can see the Portakabins and the residential properties that over to the east of the site in the distance over there. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Andy. So we have no speakers at present. Councillor David Hall.
Okay. One of the comments from the residents was about the bat survey. I am kind of worried about the bat survey on this one. You actually did the bat survey in January when bats are generally hibernating. So what was the point of doing it then? Is there going to be a secondary bat survey going to be done on this site or not?
Yes, Chairman, there would be. There's a condition that's proposed in the recommendation that ties it to the requirements of the ecology survey, amongst other things. At the appropriate time, that would require additional survey work. But the heads up from the original survey indicated, although the possibility didn't indicate that it should be an insurmountable issue for the development to progress.
Okay, and my second question is about the carbon scrutiny. We've got the carbon audit, which hasn't actually come out yet. So how can we say that this site's going to be carbon neutral if the carbon audit hasn't come out on that yet?
That's a good question. I'm not sure I can give a robust, clear answer to that, other than to say that I know that the certainly the sustainability credentials for the buildings have been considered. The submission was accompanied by a report which explored opportunities and possibilities for example, for using green energy sources, for equally looking at rainwater harvesting techniques, etc., etc. So where that's been possible, they're proposed to be incorporated within the scheme detail.
Right. Okay.
Is there anything else, Councillor Hall?
Not at present, but I probably will come back.
Yeah, no problem. So, Councillor Jones.
Good morning, Chairman and ladies and gentlemen. The thing is, I'm very pleased that it is screened because you've obviously kept it in line with the porter cabins that are on site. It's quite an ugly building, but and I don't think that the cottages are much of a loss, to be fair, looking at them. So I've read through it. I do think that we should retain the car parking. I know there's suggestions that it should be reduced, but you know what it's like. Every one of these buildings end up with not sufficient car parking. I recommend and propose that we accept it with the officer's recommendations. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Jones. Any other speak? Councillor Alex Hall.
Yes, I would like to second Councillor Jones's proposal.
Thank you, Councillor Hall. Any other speakers? You want to come back, Councillor Hall? David Hall?
Possibly, again, on the carbon scrutiny, well, not the scrutiny, sorry. Is this going to be essentially a passive building, or are we going to be an active building? Because obviously with the Boston College coming in throughout that one, it's going to be more of an active building, I presume.
Okay.
Nobody?
Andy, could you answer that?
Yeah, I was wondering whether I could quickly find the relevant supporting document that came in with it. But it's looking to incorporate.
Unfortunately, the planning service seems to have gone down. So I'm actually trying to find these documents as well while it's coming up there. But every time I come on, it comes up document unavailable.
I think I'm having a similar problem, but I might be able to find it quickly. But the intention is to incorporate some passive house techniques within it, but I guess that it's not completely passive house standard, no.
Right.
Okay. But that's some of those obviously sort of technical matters. I'm probably not in the best place to answer those, but it certainly seeks to incorporate measures where it can.
Would that be neutral in what by 2024, or which is one of the recommendations by the local scrutiny which got submitted recently?
Yeah, sorry, Alfred, I can't really answer that one accurately. I need to check the details and probably go back to the applicant on that.
Right. Okay.
Chairman, if I can help, Chairman,
yeah.
It's Paul Edwards, the Assistant Director Planning. Our Climate Change and Environment Manager has had a look at this scheme, and although it's not specifically answering Councillor Hall's question, it has been run through the biodiversity test, the DEFRA standards that we have to use for environmental net gain, and the current design is giving us a plus 5% net gain in terms of biodiversity. I know it's not answering the question totally, but given the work that's going on, she does believe we can get it up to 10% as part of the design work that's ongoing. So it has been looked at, and our Climate Change and Environment Manager is involved in the scheme in a lot of detail. I hope that helps, Chair.
Yeah.
Thank you. And Councillor Aldridge, I thought you'd gone away.
I'm still here, yes. I think it's a waste of money. When it came to full council, I spoke up against it. You are not thinking about the people that are going to work there. There won't be sufficient car parking, and as I say, it's an absolute waste of money when we're in such dire straits with what's coming in the future. And I really object strongly to it. It won't make any difference because you'll all vote for it because it's already been approved. But I raise my objection. As I say, it's a waste of money. You're going to be left with a listed building that no one will want. We've spent a lot of money over the years in updating Tedder Hall, and you're going to be left with not only Tedder Hall, but the maintenance of this and all the millions of pounds that are going to be spent on it. It's an absolute waste of money. You haven't thought of the workforce.
We appear to have lost Councillor Aldridge, I'm afraid. I'm sure he'll...
The roads are not suitable in the winter weather, and this is a very bad decision, and mark my words, in years to come, people will look upon what I've said and say, yeah, you were right, and I'll shut up now.
Yeah, so I'll just put, you know, if you're objecting so much, you can propose an objection with planning grounds if that's what you require.
It won't make any difference because you will have a majority on the planning committee who have already approved it, and it will go through.
No one's approved anything yet, Councillor. If you'd like to propose a refusal, I'll be quite happy to accept it. No,
well, no one will second it.
Thank you. So, Councillor Jones.
What I'd like to say is I don't agree with Councillor Aldridge one bit. I think Tedder Hall is going to be a wonderful opportunity to make a large amount of homes for building. I think that East Lindsey will make a significant amount of money out of it if they get the opportunity, which will finance this building, which I don't like the shape of it, but I think it's ideal in that it's in the centre of East Lindsey area for the first time, so everybody hasn't got a trail up to Manby. I think it's right in the centre for any workforce and ideally situated, and I would recommend everybody votes in favour of it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Jones. Councillor Swanson.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I've got two things to say, but in general, I've got no planning reasons why this should be refused. That's my first point. So my second point is I'm a little bit worried, as I was when the proposal went through council, because of the effects or the possibility of a unitary dissolving all the parish, all the councils, all the district councils. And the last comment I have is one of the things about these Zoom meetings is that we seem to have lost consultation face to face with the ward member. And I just wondered, my question is, do we have any idea of any comments from the ward member? I know that the ward member supported it at council, but we haven't got any ward member comments regarding the planning or the effect of the development on the amenity of the residents and the traffic, etc. Thank you.
Did you want to come back on that, Andy, or not?
Just a brief comment, Chairman. Thank you. Yes, my understanding is that certainly the applicant met with the ward members and I think the town council as well to explain some of the background and the issues to it. And as far as I'm aware, you know, they queries that they had about the scheme and details were sort of fed back to them. So I think in terms of any queries, any issues that they may have had, I think they may have been addressed, and certainly have not received any adverse comments.
Thank you. Councillor David Hall.
Do you want to do Councillor Brooks first? Because I've spoken more than once on this so far.
Councillor Brooks.
Yeah, good morning, everyone. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yeah, well, you take out of it who's applying for it. I think it's really great to see such large commercial investment, and also that it's going to be coupled with a college for education for young people. I think it's a good investment to see come forward to the planning committee. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Brooks. Councillor Hall, did you want to?
I'm actually going to say the opposite. The education in this building is actually quite limited to a very small niche area. As in most colleges, you'd expect more of vocational qualifications to be able to do their whatever, which we are sorely lacking in this area. So on the education, I don't think it's a college as a college. It doesn't quite rate. It's just, yeah, there might be sixth form there, but I don't think as a college it actually cuts the mustard. I will agree with Councillor Aldridge. I don't particularly think that we should be doing this yet, especially considering how up in the air everything else is at the moment, especially with the devolution and the merger with Boston, which, regardless. But if he wishes to propose it, I am quite happy to second it, or if he doesn't want to propose it, I will quite happily propose that we do not do this plan at this moment.
Chairman, if I may, I think the committee could just perhaps have some clarity on the interests and the voting. Obviously, as a council, the council is perfectly entitled to have their own planning applications. They're treated in the same openness and transparency as any private individual putting a planning application in. I'd also like to remind members that sitting here on committee today, you have the opportunity to voice interest, but as there was no interest voice for this one, I'd remind members that you are supposed to be sitting here with an open mind to listen to the discussions of the committee, to take the information that's before you, and that your mind is open. You haven't made a decision as yet. If you have made a decision and predetermined this, then you shouldn't be voting. So I just make it very clear to members that you have got an open mind as you sit here, and that you have not made a decision until you've heard all the discussions here today.
Thank you, Angela. That clarifies a fair bit. Councillor Eyre.
Hello. My tendency is to agree with Councillor Aldridge a bit, but as it's just been pointed out by Angela, we're a planning committee. This isn't a council meeting. That's dead and gone. And I can see no practical reason for refusing this, and I would like to support it.
Thank you.
Propose it for approval if it hasn't already been done.
Yeah, it's already been proposed and seconded, Councillor Eyre.
Oh, beg your pardon then. Yeah, I'll support it then.
No problem. Councillor Matthews.
Am I on?
Yes.
I know the site quite well, worked there many, many years ago. It's long overdue improvement and renovation. And I think, you know, it will bring East Lindsey and that site more into the 21st century with the offer of a more economically viable building. It will add to the local economy. There are more plus points than negatives, and I will certainly be supporting this.
Thank you, Councillor Matthews. So I'll just go quickly back to Councillor David Hall. Was you proposing a refusal?
Yes, at present. I'm not sure what grounds to put it on at the moment, though.
Well, we've got no further speakers, so we'll be going to the vote.
Okay. In that case, I'll remove my objection.
Thank you. So, no further speakers. That can. Councillor Aldridge, did I just see your hand go up?
Yes, I haven't heard a word that Angela said, and I haven't heard a word that Councillor Matthews said, because my link has gone. It keeps going. So I think the best thing I can do is to leave the meeting, because it keeps this link keeps going in and out, in and out. I didn't hear what Mr. Booth had to say when he was speaking. He was all distorted, and then he disappeared, and then he came back. But I didn't hear a word that Angela said. I didn't hear a word that Councillor Matthews said. So really and truly, I think it's better that I'll wait for the vote, and then I'll go, because if the link keeps breaking up as it did at full council, you know, it's a waste of time, quite honestly.
Well, thank you, Councillor Aldridge. I think someone needs to look at your internet connection at some point. So, no further speakers. We have got Councillor Jones, who's proposed it. Councillor Alex Hall has seconded it. Joanne, would you like to do a vote?
Okay, I'll just go to the vote then. If you can confirm whether you are for, against or abstaining for the approval vote. Councillor Terry Aldridge.
Against.
Councillor Billy Brooks.
For.
Councillor Cunnington is absent, as he's given his apologies. Councillor Dennis hasn't been here for most of the debate, so he will be unable to vote on the item. Councillor Dick Edgington.
For.
Councillor Stephen Eyre.
For.
Councillor Alex Hall. Councillor Alex Hall.
For.
Councillor David Hall.
Against.
Councillor Neil Jones.
For.
Councillor Thomas Kemp.
For.
Councillor Helen Matthews.
For.
Councillor Daniel McNally.
Same.
For. Councillor Jim Swanson.
Abstain.
Okay. That's 8 for, 2 against and 1 abstention, Chairman, so that's carried.
Thank you. So that then brings us back to screen. That brings us on to agenda item number 6, which is Land Off Station Road, Tetney, Grimsby. I'll pass over to Graham Hyde, because I forgot to introduce everyone. Is the planning officer for this application. Over to you, Graham. And there is a substantial supplementary agenda with this, so it might be worth giving everyone a fair few minutes to go through that if nobody hasn't quite read through it properly yet.
Thank you, Chairman. Good morning, everybody. Yes, this application is a full application for 26 dwellings off Station Road in Tetney. Of those 26, 8 are proposed to be affordable houses, and it's overall it's an extension of an existing scheme on a previous phase, which was for 41 dwellings. So of the 26 houses, 16 are large family detached properties for market housing. There were 2 semis also for market housing, and then 8 semi-detached for the affordable housing. The proposal also includes a play area for young children, and there are various drainage works. The drainage is to tap into the existing system that was approved for the 41 to extend that scheme, including attenuation pond and a connection to Tetney Drain to the south. As the chairman stated, there were various things on the supplementary agenda. There's a letter from the applicant, which is attached in full, and then there were 2 letters from third parties, both fairly lengthy. So, Chairman, do you want me to go through the presentation first, and then for members to read the supplementary, or vice versa?
Yeah, no, go through the presentation and then we'll give it a few minutes.
Okay. If I can find it. So I'm just looking for my report, which seems to have disappeared from
Do you want us to read the supplementary while you gather that together?
That's a very good idea while I search for the presentation. Thank you.
So if everyone's got the supplementary papers, it'd be worth a quick read of some of them comments.
If you want, Graham, I can load it and then you just tell me when to change slides. Just tell me if you want any help.
Okay, thank you. I think my mild panic is now over. I seem to have found the presentation.
Well, whenever you're ready, I think we've given everyone enough time
Okay,
to refresh the brains on the supplementary.
Thank you, and it gave me time to find this as well, so that's all good. Yeah, so the site, just put in context, obviously this is Tetney Village, the main coastal road from Humberston up here, leading through the coastal villages of Marshchapel, North Somercotes, etc. in this direction. And then you've got Town Road, which is this one, which leads onto Station Road, and then Halton Road obviously heads up to Halton and Clay. The site is an extension to this development. This was the 41 dwellings I mentioned earlier. It's well under construction. Area photography is reasonably up to date. You'll see from the slides later that this is ongoing. In the papers is also mention of other developments in the locality. So just a quick overview of those. And you've got Tetney Golf Club. There's a clubhouse here. You can see the golf course in this area. There's a development of around 23 dwellings around the car park. There's eight bungalows already constructed there, frontage properties, and there's a handful of up and down the other side. Opposite, you've got 9 dwellings, all under construction. I think the frontage 3 are now occupied, And the fourth, when I was there the other day, had a sold sign on it, so that's ongoing. We've got the first few of what's been developed along Halton Road. I think it's 16 along there. You have a further 10 in this bottom area, which is relevant to this because the drainages or proposed drainage is all connected and linked together. So there's 10 there, and there's a further 5 on the opposite side of the road. And there's also this site here, which is known as Fair Lawns. We have a pending application on there for 9 properties. So just a similar plan, just showing it again in contact. So in the pink there is the existing first phase. The second phase is here. Again, there's the Fair Lawn site here. And you can probably just make out the drainage channel, which is this line here. This was built to drain the pink site. It drains in a southerly direction, downhill effectively into an attenuation pond here. And when that fills, that then goes into the Tetney drain to the south. So a little bit more detail showing the site here, a simple extension. The main road continues through, 26 dwellings. The affordable houses, 4 of which are in this location here, which overlooks the proposed play area. Landscaping scheme. You see lots of perimeter landscaping around the site. And then just some details of the drainage. So again, the southern end of the site, the drain comes this way into the balancing pond with an overflow into the mains. The existing land drainage for these fields is also to be diverted around and into this system. And then just more details of the drainage itself. Again, the balancing pond at the southern end of the site. And details of the play area. There's 8 pieces of equipment proposed in here. And this is an extension to the scheme approved of the first phase. So the first phase of the smaller scheme, I think it had 5 pieces of equipment. Obviously, because of the increase in dwelling numbers, they've increased the size of the site accordingly. And then just a run through of some of the dwelling types, and you'll see that the majority of properties, as I said, they're all large family detached properties. Some of 2-storey, and then there's a few, of 2.5, with rooms in the roof. Some 5, 6 bedroom properties. So onto the photos and of the street scene. This is Station Road. You've got the site on the right hand side. Another development on the opposite side. As I say, first 3 are certainly occupied, and the site entrance is just in this area here. Looking in the opposite direction. Again, this is the scheme on the opposite side. The proposed site entrance for this application off Station Road is in here. And again, looking into the site, so this is the main entrance. You can see the first phase is well on its way. Behind Station Road is on the right hand side, the other side of this hedge. There's a road obviously serving all these frontage properties along here. These photos were taken slightly earlier, probably 4 or 5 months ago. So we're within the site here, but looking back over phase 1. So the dwellings on the previous slide, a lot lower stage of construction. They're the dwellings opposite. You can see the site is ongoing. As I said, many of these properties are now, much taller and nearer to completion. I'm actually stood on a mound here, created an earth mound, and panning around the site. So we've got the application site here. So it's this first bit of green land behind this. So this is all part of phase 1. And phase 2 is the extension of the area here. Again, looking south, this is all phase 2, this first section of the green field. You can see this line here, which is the drainage channel already implemented for phase 1. Again, just panning around the site again. So you've got Station Road here, frontage properties. And these are the dwellings already approved and built as part of the golf club. And again, this is just the drainage channel. So you'll see from this slide and from this one, it's already been implemented, and this is to be utilised in this scheme. again, it takes you all the way down to the south. And ultimately, it'll link in to the attenuation pond, which is already been built for phase 1. For this phase 2, it needs to be enlarged accordingly to accept the additional drainage, but also it's been designed with other developments in mind, as detailed in the report. So it's not just capturing water from phase 1 and phase 2, but from potentially also this scheme here, some of the properties around the golf club will all go into it, and also the land drainage as well. Again, just a view of the attenuation pond. I think that's it, Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you, Graham. Trying to get the participants list. So over to the committee. Do we have any speakers? Councillor David Hall.
I'll speak first because nobody else seems to put their hand up. So is this phase 2 or phase 3? Because I thought I saw in some of the documentation that this was phase 3, not phase 2.
It's phase 2. It's become known as phase 2. When this first phase was built, it was simply a development, so it didn't have a phase 1 or 2. As this one progressed, it became known as phase 2. The applicants have referred to a potential third phase, which I'm assuming they're guessing as a further extension, but there's nothing with the council. There's been no debate, rather, including that. So this is definitely phase 2.
Okay. Exactly how many social housings are actually on the site? Because it's got down here that there's 8 proposed affordable housing, but nothing about social housing.
8 altogether under the broad umbrella of affordable housing.
So
in
no
addition,
social houses, just affordable.
Yeah, it will be to a housing provider.
Right. Okay. So 8 out of the 41. That's not the 30% of development of this size, is it? And do we include the 109, or is this just from this site?
No, so let me clarify. It's 8 from these 26.
And how many from the previous?
You got me now. I think it was only 5. I might be wrong in that, but I know it was proportionate to the requirement at the time. I can't remember the exact figure, to be honest, but there are affordable properties in phase 1.
But if you're saying there's only 5 in this one and 8 in the other, if that's 41 from the first and 26 from the second, that's not the 30% social housing list, is it?
So, no, it's the other way around. It's 8 from these 26. So on this current application we've got with us now, is 8 affordable housing from the 26. From phase 1, which was 41 dwellings. I can't remember what the exact number was. I've got a feeling it was 5, but that does seem low, and I might be wrong on the 5. But I can recall it being in accordance with the requirement at that time.
Right. Okay. I'm hoping somebody else has a question by now.
Have you finished, Councillor Hall?
At the moment, yeah.
Okay. Councillor Jones.
I think actually Councillor Matthews was first, but now I'm in the chair, I've got it. I think when you look at this site, it's basically infill, isn't it? I mean, there's development all around it. I think it's gratifying that you've got some large family homes on this site, which we need, which will bring resources into the area and encourage people to come into Tetney. And I can see that they have made a big effort with the drainage, which was one of the big complaints that seems to have gone forward. I recommend that we approve the proposal with regard to the officer's recommendations. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Jones. Councillor Matthews.
I'd like to second the proposal, and I think the main issue was about drains, and they look like they've got a sensible resolution to that, taking it away from the main drain. So I'd like to second the proposal.
Thank you. I'm not seeing any more. I've got one. Can we have a picture that was highlighting the houses a bit? That got.
Well, the
yeah,
layout plan up.
Go back again. That one.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So where it says affordable on it.
Yeah.
So is it 26 and 25? Are they affordable as well or not?
Yeah. Yeah. You've got these four here, these two here, and then there's a pair within here as well.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think it's a planning consideration, but I've had this discussion before on other sites, but sometimes it feels like the affordable housing is stuck to the side of the estate when it should be integrated within it. And I don't know if that's something that can be addressed in future applications, really.
Yeah, it was an issue on this one as well, to be honest with you. And the previous submission showed it as a self-contained cul-de-sac in this bottom corner here, which is very much segregated from the remainder. This is an improvement, and I felt because it was overlooking the open space area as well, at a proper identity, and serving those, if you like, providing a function of overlooking here. And there's also a couple in the middle here, which it could be argued that it's just a token gesture, that it's sort of amongst a wider detached setting. But I felt overall in this case, and plus there's a pair of non-affordable ones here as well.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really have too much of a problem with the others. It's just them stuck on the end, really. I think that.
Yeah.
But like I say, that's just something to look for in the future. And the open space recreation ground, it is conditioned that it will be maintained at the developer's expense or the householders that live along there, or.
Yeah, it's to be in accordance with the scheme to be submitted, but yeah, basically it'd be a third party private company, whether that involves residents or whoever. But yeah, there's a condition to secure implementation and long-term maintenance. So it's not the Parish Council, basically, but the Parish Council have written in with concerns about that they don't want to be responsible for it. So it will be in private management.
Thank you. And David Hall, Councillor Hall.
Could you just go to the picture of the actual buildings themselves, the front views? I had a horrible feeling that you had the low level front letterboxes.
Ooh, if you pick that up, that's very good eyesight.
Actually, I can't see the letterbox in there at all. Sorry, it's just a bugbear of mine. I hate low level letterboxes, and I know it was something that's coming up in the next MPP after they actually hopefully ban them.
Well,
I'd really like to see.
Well, as a former paper boy myself, I can totally agree with that. But I must admit, it's not something I normally scrutinise on planning applications.
Thank you, Councillor Dennis.
Good morning, Chairman. Apologies for not getting there on time. I had another meeting. I do apologise. Just one thing about this application. Will the grounds be kept up by the third party in perpetuity?
Yes.
The officer?
Yeah, there will. Again, there's a landscaping scheme and a management plan for all parts of the development, to be honest. And again, it's a mixture between what will be the applicant and the golf club owner. So yeah, there's
Okay. Okay, and also, will the affordable homes get built out? Because we've seen many problems in the past with these affordable homes not getting built out.
and well, there's a condition. Condition number 4 requires the scheme to be agreed and submitted. So I can't see why there wouldn't be. It's a requirement of the condition at this stage. Whether they ever come back in the future and argue otherwise, who knows? But the condition's there, so it should be implemented.
I'm fairly uncomfortable with the situation where these people are treated as second-class citizens. I'm a little bit uncomfortable. It's not a good start, even if they do get a start on the housing ladder, that they feel like they're second-class citizens. That's the feel I have for it. And I do feel a certain uncomfortability with that. I don't know what can be done, to be fair, to alter that feeling that I feel. And I don't know if members feel that way a little bit, but that's how I feel a little bit. Feel a little bit uncomfortable sometimes with these.
Councillor Dennis, are you finished?
Yes, I have.
Oh, thank you. Any comments, Graham?
No, as I say, there's a condition requiring affordable housing to be implemented. So, we expect the application to be implemented in accordance with the approved details and conditions.
Thank you. Seeing no further speakers, it was proposed by Councillor Jones and seconded by Councillor Matthews. Joanne, if you want to do a roll call.
Okay, if you can confirm, please, whether you are for, against or abstaining the approval vote. Councillor Aldridge has left the meeting. Councillor Billy Brooks.
For.
Councillor Richard Cunnington has given an apology. Councillor Sid Dennis.
For.
Councillor Dick Edgington.
For.
Councillor Stephen Eyre.
For.
Councillor Alex Hall.
For.
Councillor David Hall.
For.
Councillor Neil Jones.
For.
Councillor Thomas Kemp.
For.
Councillor Helen Matthews.
For.
Councillor McNally.
Abstain.
Councillor Jim Swanson.
For.
That's 11 for, 0 against and no abstentions. So that's carried, Chairman.
Thank you. So that's approved. Thank you, Graham, for the thingy, as it was the first time we've been in.
Thank you, Chairman.
That brings on to item number 7, which is land at Horncastle Road, Martin Horncastle, and the planning officer is Michelle Walker. So, Michelle, whenever you're ready.
Yeah, good morning, Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, committee. Let's have a go at the screen. Well, I opened the screen share just to bring members' attention to a couple of things. There are some additional comments on the supplementary agenda. I think there's 4 additional expressions of objection, mostly relating to the position of the access and potential conflict between those using the Woodhall Spa Trail, including horse riders. And there's also a letter from the applicant setting out in support of his additional support of the application in lieu of being able to speak today. There's also just a correction to the description of the development during the course of the application. The picnic area, car park was added, and the picnic area was added actually into the application site itself. And we'll see all that on the plans, but just to confirm the description of development. And the final thing, just to mention, while we're sort of housekeeping a bit, the application is recommended for approval, but the extended publicity doesn't expire until next week. So if members wish to approve the application, we're asking that the decision be delegated to the Assistant Director to issue that decision following the expiry of that consultation date, subject to no material considerations being received. Okay, so I don't know if you just want a couple of seconds just to have a quick look at the supplementary, or if you want to crack straight on with the presentation.
I'll just give you a minute just to look at the supplementary, just to refresh everyone.
Stephen, how does it work?
Enough time. Whenever you're ready, Michelle.
Okay, so the application is for erection of a crematorium with ancillary facilities on land off the B1191, which is the main road between Woodall Spa, which is in this direction, and Horncastle, which is this way. This is the road here. You can just see this sort of the grey shading. It comes this direction. This is the bend that a lot of the objectors have referred to. It's a bit of a blind bend.
I'm not getting screen sharing. I don't know whether it's working for everybody, Chair.
Yeah, the screen share, we're not seeing any pictures.
Oh no, it is on mine. Oh, I did screen share. Oh, I don't know how to do it now. Is everybody there?
Chair.
Oh, I don't know why it's not.
If you can't, Michelle, I'll load it and then you just tell me when to change a slide, maybe. I'll give you a couple of seconds.
I'll just go out of it again, then go back into it again and see if, okay, so share. Can everybody see that now?
Yeah, we're on.
Okay, sorry.
Right.
Okay, we'll try again. Okay, so this is the Woodall Spa is in this direction, Horncastle in this direction. This is a B1191, the main road between the two. This sort of thin grey line you can see. Here is the bend in the road, Blind Bend, which is the old railway bridge, which is referred to by quite a lot of the objectors. And the application site is this, luckily for us, this green field here, this rectangular field. The Martin picnic area is here, an entrance from the B1191 is in this position here. This row of trees you can see is the line of the former railway line, which is a site of nature conservation interest. It carries part of the Viking Way long distance footpath, which goes from the Humber to Rutland Water. And in this area, for about a 3-mile stretch, it's hard surfaced and it's promoted as the Spa Trail, promoted for everyone, ease of movement. We'll see some more plans of that shortly, but this Spa Trail comes along here and goes under the road bridge to this side and then continues in the Horncastle direction. So to the next. Okay, so Red Edge. So there's the field, that's that green field you saw on the previous slide, blue line, just other land under the control of the applicant. There's the access onto the B1191. So as I said, it's an application for a crematorium. If we just start on the layout plan, it's roughly, this is a building proposed here, roughly central to the site. It's an F shape. Access comes off the B1191 through the picnic, what is currently the picnic site, into the site, goes round the back for servicing and comes this way to 100 space car park for visitors to the site. There's a lake feature here, and then the rest of the site would be landscaped. We'll come to this little bit on another slide in a moment. But the building itself, as I say, it's an F shape, so you can see that here. The rear part would be the crematory, staff areas, and a screened servicing staff car parking area. This is the chapel, and with staff officers in this position, with the courtyard garden area and the covered way here. This is the porte cochere where the hearses would arrive to unload the coffins. And this is the waiting area for people attending funerals with some toilet facilities. So elevations, it's fairly low key of the building. This is a bit that would face to south towards the road. So this is where the public would go in. You can see the little feature clock tower. And then this is the flue to the crematory area. That's the rear elevation of the west elevation of the building, east elevation, and then just various bits of the various parts of the F shape. So this is back to the site layout plan. I explained that there would be a car park and picnic area in connection with the users of the Spa Trail Viking Way. At the moment, it's this roughly rectangular area, which is about 10 metres wide and about, oops, where's my note? And about 60 metres long, sorry. And the access would come in, be a widened access, which we'll see in a moment, coming in through here. And there would be a gate roughly here, going to the crematorium, and this area would be screened off with hedging and trees, new picnic tables, and a car park specifically for users of the Viking Way and Spa Trail link. The site has been audited, safety audited in connection with the County Council, and as a result of that, this entrance from the B1191 will be widened to 5.5 metres in width, and that width would continue into the site. So you can see here the existing picnic area, and then the two sections of the trail, which actually do go through the middle, but they're not really marked on the site. So, photographs. So I'm stood on the B1191, looking straight across at the entrance into the picnic area. That gate there is entrance into the application site, and you can see this hedge here is the western boundary of the site. This is outside the site here. Stood on the opposite side of the road, the picnic area here, that's the direction towards Woodhall Spa, and the direction towards Horncastle, and you can see the bend that we referred to on the aerial photographs, and you can see a bit of the picnic area here, and you can see the tall screening on the roadside. So in the picnic area, that's the entrance in, Woodhall Spa that direction, Horncastle this way. And this is one of the spurs going towards Woodhall Spa. You can see it's called a picnic area, and I don't know what it was like when it's first done, but it's actually quite shady, not brilliant condition. There's a couple of litter bins. I've never seen any, haven't seen picnic tables there. There's some information boards. That's the application into the field as it is at the minute. So this is just a close-up really. This is in the Woodhall Spa direction. So there is this barrier, and there's one of these at both ends of the picnic area. And basically it stops motor vehicles going down, driving down the track. But it provides an element of safety for those using it, that they've actually arrived at the picnic area. So you can get around that side, and you can also get around this other side. And there's the information boards that have been provided. Just looking the opposite way, there's a similar situation there, but there aren't the information boards. That's the Horncastle direction. This is the application site here, and you can see again there's hedging along the boundary. So this just really is to show you the rolling countryside on the western side, so you can see the blocks of woodland. It's put in the report, it's quite a rural sort of spot. So we've now moved into the application site. This is the hedge. There is a bit of a shallow dike along this side and a gappy hedge. That's the north, that's the farm yard associated with the applicant. And you can see the land slopes up towards the north. It also slopes downwards, much less notably in this westerly direction. So this is, I'm stood at the gateway again, this is the boundary with the footpath, which actually, as you go further east, becomes a much lower level than the application site. And you can just, so this is the northeast corner, and you can just see the farmyard area we were talking about. Just a view of looking sort of north on the site. This is looking towards the Spa Trail, so you can see it's quite well treed. One thing I didn't mention, as you go east, the land falls away quite noticeably in that direction. And then I'm stood looking back towards the Spa Trail, but much closer to it. Now you can see the hedge on this side is much more intact, and then on the other side of it there is a much larger dike. That might be the last slide. Yeah, that's the last. Yeah, that's the last one. Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle. So it's over to committee. Councillor Jones.
I didn't really want to start off with this one, but there isn't much to say really, is there? If we read the literature, 7.5 says that we need a crematorium. I don't suppose anybody wants it in their backyard. I know that picnic site, it's just a flat. I thought it was a car park actually until they put the barriers up. These people that are going to produce this site, I understand, are going to provide a new picnic area with tables and all the rest of it. So I think it would probably be a betterment to the picnic site. I can't see that we've got any planning objections. I mean, you can never make a crematorium attractive, but they are always very well maintained and well kept. If it's anything to go by the ones that they want at Alford or you know, the other ones that you see. So obviously I'll move for approval.
Yeah, thank you, Councillor Jones. Councillor Eyre, you're next.
Yeah, thank you, Chairman. I was involved with the Alford crematorium when it started. The objections are similar and not very strong, but one of the knock-on effects of such a place is that people make use of the facilities at the hotels at Woodhall and Horncastle, and it livens up the local economy. They need wakes and places to stay if they travel from a distance. Given 15 years, the desolation that is currently the field as proposed will be a nature reserve, basically a beautiful spot. And I'd like to second the application to approve.
Thank you, Councillor Eyre. So, Councillor Alex Hall.
Thank you, Chairman. I totally agree with the previous two speakers, and I would also say that many of the objections made have been dealt with the conditions set out by the officers. So yeah, I fully support the application. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Hall. Councillor Swanson. Councillor Swanson.
Okay, I'm back again, am I? Yeah. I support this application. That's all I want to say. And I agree with Councillor Eyre and his comments.
Thank you. Councillor Edgington.
Yes, thank you, Chairman. I support everything that's been said so far. I mean, these developments are necessary, and I think this is done in a sensitive way, and I think it's something that we should all support. Thank you.
Thank you. Seeing no further speakers, it's been proposed by Councillor Jones, seconded by Councillor Eyre. John, if you'd like to take a vote, please.
Okay, so for the approval, you can just confirm whether you are for, against or abstaining, please. Councillor Terry Aldridge has left the meeting. So Councillor Billy Brooks.
For.
Councillor Richard Cunnington has given apologies. Councillor Sid Dennis.
For.
Councillor Dick Edgington.
For.
Councillor Stephen Eyre.
For.
Councillor Alex Hall.
For.
Councillor David Hall.
For.
Councillor Neil Jones.
For.
Councillor Thomas Kemp.
For.
Councillor Helen Matthews.
For.
Councillor Daniel McNally.
For, abstain.
Okay. Councillor Jim Swanson.
For.
Okay. That's 10 for, 0 against and 1 abstention, Chairman.
Thank you, Joanne. So that has been approved. Thank you, Michelle, for a comprehensive pictures and reports. And that brings on to item 8, which is appeals decided. Any comments, Paul?
Nothing to add to that, Chairman. Thank you very much. There's just 2 wins for the council reported there. I'll let the council know that the refusal committee will recall for Wickenby Gardens at Horncastle. That appeal has been dismissed, so planning permission has not been granted, but that'll be reported in full to your next meeting. It's not on your papers, but it was quite a significant application which committee refused. It's gone to appeal and it's been dismissed on appeal, but we'll bring that next meeting. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Next is delegated decisions, number 9, which is just for noting, really. Any comments, just email the plan officers. And 10 is the date of the next meeting, which is Thursday, the 3rd of September 2020. If you are going on holiday anywhere, I hope you enjoy your back garden. And that's it. Meeting closed.
Cheers, everybody. Bye bye.
Thank you, Chairman.